Woo! Hello, everybody. I'm here in my kimono today because I want to review a Japanese film. It's from 1966 and it's called The Face of Another. I'm not sure if this is a response either to Eyes Without a Face or perhaps The Invisible Man. There seem to be nods towards both movies. It's most like The Invisible Man in that it's about someone who gains a sort of advantage over others. A super sense of something, I don't know, and it causes them to become corrupt and flushed with power, and they end up abusing it and trying to rape someone, and then they get thrown in prison. You know, I gotta say, this movie is genre bending. I mean, it's hard to pin it down. That would be saying it's too horror based. It's not totally horror based. Instead of turning someone invisible, we're trying to do something else. We're trying to solve this guy's problem. He's missing a face. His name is Mr. Okuyama, by the way. Mr. Okuyama is like the only person who gets a name. No one else in this movie gets a name but him. They just are like, yeah, the nurse, his employer, the doctor, the psychiatrist, the assistant, the retarded girl. She's a character, the retarded girl. I mean, you know, on the box cover, they call her Yo-Yo Girl to be nice. But she's retarded. They call her retarded. There's a lot of retarded people in this movie. We'll get to that later. But he's the only person who gets a name. And it's ironic that, you know, being the only person who gets a name, he's the only person who doesn't get a face. He lost his face. They never tell us why. I mean, he bemoans it all the time. It possesses him constantly. He talks about nothing else. He moans, he bitches, he laments, he pines, he sits there weeping and wishing things could be different. And he wonders why no one likes him either. Everybody's always really depressed around him and always sighing. It's like, why do we even talk to you? There's his wife. She ain't turned on. That's a big thing with him. He's like, you know, I turn off the lights, pounce on you, and try to eat your pussy, and you freak out and you reject me. I feel so betrayed. These bandages, they must horrify you. And she's like, no, it's that you sit there and ramble about all of the really terrible nightmares you had and all of the times during the day that you felt embarrassed to be in public. All the times you felt really unhappy at your job. That's all you spent your time talking about and moaning and self-pitying. And then you pounced on me and tried to eat my taco. That's not good manners. You're not charming me. And oh, and he's sitting there in his kimono just like me with his bandages on. He's unhappy. He's also got this employer he goes and sees sometimes and talks with him. He'll talk with him about the incident, whatever it was. They don't even say it was an accident. They just are like, yeah, it happened. You got hit in the face at a baseball game and knocked your face off? I don't know. So we're all aware of it, but you can go back to your job. I guess it took him off his job. He's on leave right now, just again, sitting around and whining. His boss is like, yeah, come back to work. We all want to hang out with you again. No one cares about the bandages. Yes, I know you say that, but deep inside you ostracize. You can't help it. You're only human. I'm only human. He'll go into these weird lyrical monologues, and the people he likes hanging out with the most are the people who will, like, understand it and talk back to him in that manner. For instance, I don't know, his psychiatrist. I mean, they call him the psychiatrist, but he also calls himself a doctor, but he's neither. That he's a makeup artist. I mean, that's really all he is. He's an effects artist. He calls himself a psychiatrist. He's like, let me talk about your brain. Let me, again, say cryptic, weird, metaphorical shit, haikus, and I mean, stuff that means nothing. Just talking about mankind and the philosophical implications of getting these various different procedures. But then at the same time, none of these procedures are medical in any sense. They're just, you know, gluing stuff onto you with spirit gum and other sorts of chemicals and plastics and rubber. You tell him your problems, and he, in the manner of a funerary cosmetologist, takes, like, weird rubbers and other sorts of things and, like, stretches them over your face and kind of does a Dr. X type thing. Synthetic flesh! flesh. He discusses this stuff with Okuyama all the time, and he'll be like, gee, Doc, I don't know if I should address my face issue. I mean, you know, the incident, it really left me traumatized, and my life's just a waste, and pity and woe is me. To relieve this depression, you're telling me that you can create a mask that will give me back my humanity, as it were, that will get my wife to let me eat her pussy again? He's really obsessed with this, by the way. Hey, this is not the last time he's going to try and eat her pussy. This is something he wants to do. So he's like, yeah, you know, I would really like to go down and go to town. And if you can help me, then by all means. Well, the mask I'm inventing does not have, like, synthetic lips. Fortunately, those survived the incident, whatever it was. I'm surprised they're letting you come back to work. Are there any reasons I shouldn't wear the mask? And he goes, well, I don't know. I mean, it depends. If you're trying to wear the mask to re-enter society, to, I don't know, make it easier for people to look at you. I mean, he already told his boss he's never coming back to work. I mean, really. He's like, I'm going to work from home. In fact, I plan on never talking to you again. All you'll see is my signature. Not even a letter. Just my signature on a letter that someone else writes. I wish I could go say that to my boss. Be like, I'm not coming back to work, ever, because I don't like the way I look today. So if you're going to do the, you know, this facial surgery, it's not a surgery. Again, he's just going to glue a mask onto his face. He's like, yeah, but if you're going to undergo this terrible procedure, you need to do it for reasons like getting back into your job and talking with your wife, you know, because again, she fidgets. She doesn't look you in the eye. And we all know that it's because you have a weird, gross face with bandages on it. And again, you're constantly drawing her attention to that fact. However, if your reason is to live another life, to create another life where he's free of his obligations, it doesn't make a lot of sense, quite frankly. He's just like, you'll have an alternate identity and you'll use that identity to sleep with women. I mean, we're going to make the face attractive, obviously, so you'll have an advantage that you didn't. I don't know, and then again, you'll become corrupt and you'll end up murdering someone or raping someone. It might be me. He's like, sign me up, man. I got nothing to lose. And so the guy's like, okay, I'm going to apply the mask with a Q. Slather it on. He's like, nurses, come and assist. They're rubbing him with oil of Olay. Then they stick like a football helmet onto his face and they rub it around, they pull it out. They're like, there we go, we have made the mold. And by the way, I don't know what kind of room they're in. Whenever they're doing this, they're in a room where there's like charts and glass with stuff written on it and shelves with different specimens in them. Domo arigato. I don't know. He's like, I'm going to pour this chemical in here. I'm going to shake it all around. I'm going to dump it out. I'm going to do this. We get to see the process of, you know, making special effects makeup. But that's all it is. And he goes, we need to replicate the face, like, exactly. They're kind of vague about this. They need to go find someone. And at first, I thought they were going to rip the dude's face off, which I thought would be cool. Because they're at the mall. They just go to the mall. This movie goes for hyper-realism. It's not in any way lyrical or mythical or really weird, esoteric Japanese. It's very matter-of-fact, literal 60s Japan. So they're at the mall, they're walking around, they're feeling weird, you know. The guy's got mummy thing going on. And he walks around, he's like, hey, I'm a good mummy. And they find this dude, they're like, yep, right there. We want to spit roast him. And so they go over and they grab the guy and they sit him down and they get him a Coca-Cola and they're like, listen, bub, here's 10,000 kwai if you will let us feel your face, rub your face, do shit to your face. They're very vague about it. Again, they're like, we want to shoot cum on your face. What's wrong with that? The guy looks so freaked out. He's like, oh, I don't know. Can I just feel his face just to know if I'm going to like it? And they end up telling him, they're like, we just need to sample your pores and your sweat glands. All the little imperfections, we need those. And we've decided that you've got a beautiful kisser. And we would really like to have it on his face. And for this yen, and just come over to our house and let us shoot shit on your face. And he's like, okay, fine, I guess I will. I'm young and confused. So he goes back to the clinic, and I guess they mess with his face. And later we see the guy. He's forming it. He's creating this stupid mask, and then at a certain point he goes and he puts it on the guy's face, and they mold it on. It's a long process. We're kind of interested. I mean, it's spooky. It comes out, and the guy's face is all like no wrinkles, and it's a combination of makeup and some other dude's face. Like, I don't know, but he's like, I feel beautiful. You are. But first we have to accessorize. You see, this face, it just doesn't look appropriate without hair. So he's putting beards on. Again, this guy is not a doctor. He's putting fake eyelashes on him. Yeah. Can you get me something from the Avita rack? Yes, there we go. And he like fits the stuff around the ears. He's like, now I gotta glue this on. We have to put some putty here. And he kind of arranges it, and the guy's face is all stiff. This is the piece de resistance. This is something they do not explain. He's like, I'm gonna bring over the weird ray gun. It's on a tripod. It hangs up. I don't know. What is this thing? It's like a weird laser gun. And he brings it over and he aims it at the guy's head and he turns it on. And he's like, this is going to feel hot. This is going to sizzle. Under this temperature, when you move your face around, you're going to create wrinkles. I don't know what that means, but the guy's like, ah! No! Why can't you give me sunglasses? And eventually, he finds a look he likes. And I gotta say, for a long time, I tried to figure out why this guy looked weird. I mean, he's this really attractive-looking Japanese guy, but he also looks really weird, and I couldn't figure it out. And then it occurred to me, oh my god, this guy has his eyes wide open all the time. You know, when you're a white person, when you're Caucasian, that's just Rasputin shit. But when you're Japanese, then it's like, wow, that gook's got some papers. He's got anime eyes all the time. He's just, and he also, I think, might have eyeliner on. Ooh, I'm beautiful, Doc. Yeah, that's progress, all right. So in order for him to do this experiment where he's going to be wearing this mask, he's got to set up home elsewhere besides his actual home. He tells his wife, he's like, I'm going on vacation. You weren't letting me eat you out while I was here. I guess I won't be eating you out while I'm gone. What's the difference? And she's over there making tea. She's, you know, she put on her favorite kimono for him, and she's doing a little schoolgirl thing, but he doesn't appreciate it. He's off getting an apartment somewhere else. He goes to this apartment building, and this girl bugs him. She's retarded. This is where it starts. We get some retarded children. She's, She runs over and, excuse me, who is this? It appears to be a retarded girl. She's running by. Okay, bye-bye. She's important. She'll come back. I have to tell you about that. So he's like, yes, she's a retarded woman and I'm a mummy. It's a fucking Halloween party already. So he goes and he knocks on the door, and this dude's like, would you like a brochure? Are you looking to rent? We don't have any tombs here. I'm photosensitive, and I just need a place to set up. So he sets up shop in one of the rooms. And then he comes the next day, and he's wearing pretty makeup face now. And he's like, hey, I want a room. And here's the deal. This retarded girl comes running by again, and she recognizes him. I don't know how she does, but she's like, hey, you're the mummy man. And he's like, what? No, I'm not the mummy man. You've got the wrong person. Yeah, you stole my yo-yo. I want my yo-yo. Or, I want you to buy me one. She starts stamping her feet and kind of doing that thing where they... And then her dad's like, I don't see why she's doing this. Why is she doing this? Are you really also the mummy? And he's like Boris Karloff. I'm not the mummy. I'm not the dude with all the bandages on my head. And he goes to the doctor, by the way, and he's like, dude, a girl recognized me. I want to be invisible, and a fucking retarded girl recognized me. This doesn't say a lot about your procedure, pal. Okay, this is how I know that he's not really a psychiatrist or a doctor or whatever the fuck he claims to be. This is his response to this. He's like, well, you say she's retarded. You need to understand that sometimes when you lose a sense, another grows greater to compensate. She's clairvoyant, or she's an idiot savant. She saw through your ruse because she's retarded, but normal people wouldn't. I mean, that is exactly his explanation. That's his reassurance. He's like, she's retarded. Just avoid retarded people. They're the only ones that can see through it. And the thing is, that might, under normal circumstances, I don't know, be acceptable. But again, there's a lot of retarded people in this film. Let's go visit some more. You see, there's a B story going on. I mean, this is kind of all A story, except there is a B story here. The problem is, I don't see how it ties in at all to the A story. It seems totally separate, with characters that never cross over, with a storyline that is underdeveloped. I have to say, this is kind of like conjoined twins, and this is the parasitic twin that doesn't really have a fully formed story, a narrative. You know, there are pieces, there's scenes, there's compelling moments, but I don't know. I can't really tell you what the story is or what the point. We just kind of start about a third of the way in. This doesn't even span the entire length of the film. We just kind of start around here. We cut to this girl, and she's walking down the street. She's looking good. She's got her skirt on. She's got her books. She just got, out of school, and she's doing her thing. And some guys come up to harass her. She turns around, and she's got weird Phantom of the Opera thing going on. She's got melted face on one side. They're like, oh, well, we reject you. We don't like you. She's like, well, that's okay, because I'm going back to where I live or where I volunteer. They don't explain anything. A lot of this is silent. She walks on over to the psychiatric ward. I think she goes through the back entrance because it's a chain link fence door. Again, she's in her schoolgirl outfit. She's all done up nice. She's like, yeah, I'm just walking, again, through the dumpster entrance to the psychiatric ward. And she goes inside. And again, this is a 60s film. It's black and white. You think it's going to be tame, and suddenly it just hits you. It's like, these are retarded people, and they're not pretending. You cannot pretend to have a head shaped that way or a face like that. There are people walking around. They're like, and she feels a kinship with them. She's walking around, she's petting them, she's talking to them. They're doing that at her. Do not tell me that she's here because of her weird face thing. Do not tell me that she's a patient here. I mean, really. But she might be. I don't know, because later on she's up on the roof and she's doing laundry, or she's pinning up clothes on some clotheslines, and there's a dude sitting over in the corner and, playing with pigeons. He ties a note onto a leg, sends it off. But again, there's something wrong with this guy. I think he was in the war. He's got a dent in his head, and he's like, eh. And she's talking with him. She's like, it's really easy talking politics with you because you try to see my side of things. And then he gets up and just attacks her. Gets up and grabs her, and she's like, no! Throws her on the ground, tries to bite her neck, and she punches him, or she gets away. She runs off. And she has to, run out of the building. She has to go all the way out of the building before he gives up. And he's like, well, that was weird. I was just going to say something nice. She doesn't understand that I'm on the spectrum. She's ignorant. So she runs away. She's not accommodating his Asperger's. She feels guilty. By the way, we never go back to wherever this place is for whatever reason we went there, but we never go back. I'm just going to tell you the rest of her story right now, because again, it doesn't cross over at all with what happens in the other one. We only see her a couple more times, and she's vacationing. I don't know where she is. She's on the beach. She's at a beach house, and she's with her brother. This may or may not be her real brother. She might just be calling him brother, because she tries to make out with him a couple of times. So, and he responds. She's, laying on her mat with her head on her wooden block, her headrest. Their beds, man, do not look comfortable. Yeah, this straw mat fucking hurts, and this wool blanket. She leans over, and she's like, me so horny, brother. I don't know, sis. You've got this really weird thing on your face. Someone singed you with a fire poker, or you got nitric acid thrown on your face. I don't know what happened. Brother, me so horny, do you want to make out with me or not? Well, I guess I do. So he slides over and they start brother-sister kissing. And he's like licking her scars. Then we cut to her at the window. She's looking out to the bay. There are sailors in their boats. They're going out to catch fish. She's wondering what kind of fish they might be catching. She's having tentacle dreams at the window. Oh, brother. And he's sitting over, I think he's watching TV or something. He's like listening to the radio. Again, this isn't set back in medieval times. This is set in the 60s. So there's all sorts of like modern shit going on. I think she's wearing jeans and a t-shirt. And then it's him at the window all of a sudden. And he's like, where'd my sis go? There she is! And you see a note laying on the table, and it's in like a streak of light, and there's shadow around it. Oh my god, it's a note! It's for me! It says brother! I have to say, this is probably the most Japanese thing in the whole film. And she's like, I'm gonna go commit seppuku. I gotta commit suicide. No one will accept me. The only person I can make out with is my brother. The only place I felt accepted was the psychiatric ward. Why was she there? Why was she doing people's clothes? What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna go commit suicide because I'm through with this. This story sucks. I'm done with this movie. Again, we're not even near the end of the film when she does this. She's like, I'm just through. My part's over. I'm gonna go walk into the ocean and disappear. She walks out and she bows to the sea and she's like, take me, Susanoo! And she gets swept out. Like a tsunami takes her, and she's gone. And her brother's watching, and he's real spooked by this. And then suddenly, a flash of David Lynch or something happens right here, where her brother starts screaming. And suddenly, it turns out that something's... I don't know. This has to be something artsy. I can't imagine what else this could be. He turns into like a splayed duck or a rabbit or something on a stick. Like when you walk by an authentic Chinese market and you see skinned ducks and rabbits hanging up in the window, that's kind of... He turns into one of those things. Barbecue. So now he's some sort of skinned small animal in the window. So we learned something there. We're like, okay, obviously this guy is not confronting his issues head on. And if he doesn't, he's going to turn into a splayed skinned rabbit. So that's what's going on in the background, and it gives us some context, I think. Back to our story. We're going to leave retarded people behind. What does this guy want to do? I mean, with his new face, he doesn't really want to integrate back into his life. He doesn't want to tell anyone that he has this new face. That would seem to be the moment of truth, especially if you're the doctor. The doctor's like, what are you going to spend your time doing? I mean, now that you can make your own days, now that you can plan your own activities without the constraint of the old ball and chain, what do you want to do? Well, do you want to go to lunch with me? I gotta say, man, this guy spends a lot of time having dinner with the psychiatrist. For a while, I kind of thought he was trying to date him. I'm pretty hot looking, aren't I? He's like, yeah, why are we back at this Italian restaurant again? And there's a woman singing. She's singing in Dutch. We cut to this. She's singing in some weird sort of Germanic tongue of some sort. But it's to Italian music. And she's Japanese. It's weird. And they're eating some rigatoni. So tell me, do you like to watch gladiator movies? Again, it's weird, lyrical, sort of philosophical stuff about masks. And the masks that we all wear. We all put up fronts and screens. And we put on a show. We don't let people know who we really are. And some of us are wearing synthetic rubber masks that make us look like different people. Another's face. And, at a certain point, the doctor is like, are you going to do anything else with this besides go out to dinner with me? And he's like, well, yeah, well, besides confusing the retarded, I've decided my goal is going to be seducing my wife. Seducing his wife? Really? So he's like, I'm going to spend my time doing that. Seducing the woman I'm already married to. Yeah, that seems like you're just creating a bunch of drama for no reason. I mean, this doctor's straight with him. He's like, that's a terrible idea. It's a love triangle with two people. And he's like, yeah, no, I want to prove that my wife is adulterous. He just wants to piss himself off because she'll sleep with him and then he'll get angry about it. Have you guessed? He's setting himself up for failure. So he goes and meets her. He's like, look, I found your ring. And she's like, oh, thank you. And he goes, do you want to go get some tea? They go to a restaurant. I think it's the same Italian restaurant. It's like, yeah, this is the place. And they sit down, and underneath the table, he starts, I don't know, he starts like moving his foot around. He's like, ooh, yeah, that's right, baby. How about some of that? Oh, God, keep foot fucking me under the table. And they go home. He's like, baby, I want to take you home so we can take this further than my foot. And so they go back to his apartment. The retarded girl is like, thank you for the yo-yo. You gave her a yo-yo? Well, I think someone's got a finger in already. And so they go back, and she's powdering herself. She's like, oh, you know, getting ready. And he's walking around. I love how in old films they'll get inside the house, and he doesn't even take his jacket off. He's like, I'm going to go make you a Tom Collins, dear. Make yourself at home. Would you mind if I don't know, gave a long monologue about monogamy and adultery and just kind of give you a tongue lashing for the dirty girl you're about to be? I can't believe you would do this. I can't believe you cheat on your husband without even a fucking rubber, you hoe. She's like, you don't know how many selves I have, how many me's there are that need to be fulfilled. I'm quoting her. I don't know what she's talking about. She's like, God damn it, I want someone to grab my tits and squeeze them and suck on them. And he can't do that with those bandages on his face. And he's off in Fort Worth right now at the chili cook-off or some sort of business convention. So go at it, baby. Ooh, my cherry blossoms. And then we cut to them laying in bed. And again, this is Japanese, so it's going to be a little more explicit. And he's like, wow, we just got done doing something treacherous. I mean, she's not really cheating, but she is. He gets angry. He just came, and now he's pissed off. He's all confused. He gets up, and by the way, he's not supposed to be wearing the mask, like, very long. I don't know. I mean, the doctor tells him not to keep the mask on in certain situations, and he gives him a bunch of rules, but they never come up, or he never gets penalized when he breaks them. So, by the way, this mask fucking fails again. The mask fails again because it turns out his wife knows it was him. He's like, you're such a treacherous slut, betraying your husband. I'll have you know that I'm him. And he starts trying to take the mask off. He's like, darling, I know it's you. I thought it was sexy. I thought it was role play. I thought we had found the spark. The funny thing, too, is he's like, how did you know it was me? And she says this. She's just like, really? Do you need me to say it? Dude, you fucking rammed me with the same cock that my husband rams me with. You were eating me out with the same mouth that my husband eats me out with. She's like, your face is different. It's not that big a fucking deal, man. You're wearing a mask. God damn it. My brilliant disguise has been foiled again. This is a dumb fucking mask. All it serves to do is make him feel good. And she's like, you know what? This is too weird. Because, by the way, he ripped the bed sheets off when he was yelling at her, and we saw her tits. She's angry. She's like, I'm putting on my dress. I'm tying up my kimono, doing it behind my back. And I'm leaving. And you're going to leave me alone. And she leaves, and he feels bad. I thought he was going to murder her. I mean, I don't know. He kind of gets the sense he might want to. He grabs a knife. He wraps it up in a paper towel or something for I don't know what reason. I'm going to go over to my house where my wife is and fucking stab her. So he goes over there and he tries opening the door, but she locked it. Crafty woman. She's sitting in the living room freaked out. She's in her chair. She's like in her trench coat still. What's she doing? All the lights are turned off. She's like, I hope he doesn't find me here in the living room on the couch. And he's rattling the windows. He's like, well, god damn, she's smart. She locked every entrance to the house. I guess I'm gonna go take this out on someone else? I don't. Some notion takes him. He's just gonna go be evil now for some reason. And then he sees a woman and he jumps on her and tries to rape her. It's pretty brutal too. He like pulls her dress up and he's like, the cops grab him. He gets taken to the police station. They call up the doctor. They're like, yep, you're the person whose name he gave. He was trying to rape. Apparently in Japan at this time, rape was something you could get released on if your friend came and got you out of jail. He's like, yeah, I mean, it was only attempted rape. It was illegitimate rape. It was basically tentacle porn. He was all over like an octopus. I'm a doctor. I'm a psychiatrist, or I do special effects makeup for this theater group downtown. I don't know what his credentials are. Again, he's like, this is my little stamp thing. I'm a doctor. I'm taking him with me. And he doesn't want to go with the doctor. I don't know why this is. This is really weird. It kind of comes out of nowhere. He's like, no, I'm not crazy. The doctor doesn't know me. And the doctor takes him out, and he's like, you're a free man now. I got you out of jail. Like, why are you resisting me? And they're walking along, and the guy's like, thanks, companions. The masks that we wear and sometimes take off. There are certain masks you can't take off. They're masks that you make and you fall into. They're more like holes. Blah, 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 blah. He's yammering. And the doctor is saying nothing. I love that. Or the doctor, whatever he is. He's saying nothing. He's like, I got to get back to the hospital or my effects lab so I can make out with the nurse some more. And eventually he turns to the guy and he's like, listen, I'm done. All right? You're either going to kiss me or we're parting ways, okay? I made this face beautiful so I could make out with it. Is this going to happen or not? And the guy's like, okay, fine. And he starts creeping in, like they're going to say goodbye. And I'm like, is this how they say goodbye in Japanese? Do the men get really close to each other? So he starts coming in for... Obviously, he's going to stab him. I mean, he's got the knife still, right? I guess the cops didn't find that and take it off him. They gave it back to him. He has the knife again. I don't know how. But he's got it with him, and he's going to stab him. But the whole time, the doctor is like starting to lean back. I'm just going to trust that your hand will clasp my back. Ooh, and then kiss me. But no, the knife! It's totally silent, but he falls on the ground, looking betrayed. No, I actually knew what the B story was about. And so he dies and goes to Jigoku for what he's done. And the dude who killed him, he's like, yeah, I'm free now. I've got a lot to think about. And that's it. And that's the end of the movie. It's his face looking freaked out. And then the end, or what I assume is the end, in Kana! And we go into the music. Now let me talk about the soundtrack for this film. It's the exact same soundtrack for the Addams Family movie. The one from the 90s. The Mamushka. That's what it is. It is so fucking random. So that's the music that's always going on at restaurants. And it's great too, because they're constantly out at restaurants in this movie. They're out doing things. They're walking around. They love doing this in old Japanese movies. I'm not, again, really sure why, but if they have to go talk about something, they're not going to do it at home. They're going to go to a nice cafe. Now, in order to capture these moments and to show them to us in a way that's interesting or jarring, confusing, sometimes in this film, randomly here and there, the film will just like stop. We'll just get like freeze frames, and the film will go into one, and then we'll get a little montage of freeze frames with sound still rolling. It happens just randomly, like it's Easy Rider or something. Suddenly stuff will start flashing and it won't make sense. And it's just random stuff. Again, it'll be him, Mr. Okuyama, wearing his mask. He'll be walking around the mall. It's just like Macy's. It's nothing special. He's just walking around. He's at the perfume counter. He's buying a scent, an odor. He's like, I need some musk, maybe just a pint of horse sweat if you could, ma'am. And we'll get little still photos of him shopping and buying shit and smiling. And they'll toss these in every now and then. For what purpose, I don't know. It's almost as if the film is getting slow and we need to do something to jazz it up. I don't think it works. And there's this one point where it gets really confusing, all right? This I don't understand. He's walking along, or it's him doing something. He's talking with someone. He's maybe on the bus, or it's him just doing something. And he's thinking to himself, and maybe he's thinking lyrically in his head. And then it cuts to some other shots of the bus, and people, they're having fun, daily things. And then it cuts to some chick, and she's looking at the camera going, hey! And then it cuts back to him, and who was that chick that we just cut to? It was only for a minute, and then we cut away from her. She wasn't even the chick from the B story. We've got these little artsy touches here and there that are supposed to make it avant-garde, along with the fact that it's in black and white. This film is not in like Cinescope or 16 by 9 even. It's you can tell this was made on the cheap. Uh, yeah. So a story of romance, of betrayal, of weird pseudo plastic surgery. Again, this isn't even injecting corn syrup into your lips. I'm glad that doctor is dead or whatever. Off the streets. The Face of Another. Watch it.